Welcome, and thank you for joining us today on another session of The View with Dawn,
Becca,
Kim,
Jen.
and today we're going to talk about the Black Widow story. Jen is going to talk about it first.
So back in the day when people were had a death in their family or someone that significant to them passed away, the person would dress in black, all in black, so that when they went out into the world, a grocery store, the bank, wherever they went running their errands, people would come up to them and they would say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, who passed or who did you lose?" And you might tell your story 15 times that day. You might tell it one time. You may laugh, you may cry, you may reminisce. And so at the end of that year, you were able to change your clothes or, into a different color, and you didn't have to wear black all the time. However, you had told your story about grief 1,000 times that year, where now we get 2 to 3 days to grieve, and then you move on. And so a lot of people stand still in their grief compared to when they used to tell their story over and over and over. They didn't even realize they were doing it. But when you grieve, it's a verb, and so you have to actively do it in order to get through it. So it was kind of a nice way to remember your loved one.
And I'd like to know, when did that stop?
I know it's missing today for sure.
It's definitely missing. And I think a lot of it is with the services that we have today. Everybody is running, going, doing, and we have the funeral service, boom, and they're back to work. And so the grieving process really starts at the funeral.
Right. A lot of times people say you have to have a funeral for closure, but that's really the start of the grieving process. You need to have those memories. You need to laugh. You need to cry. You need to remember. And so I just even think people say all the time, "I don't want to inconvenience my kids." Well, my kids inconvenience me all the time. So I would hope that on when I'm dead, I could be an inconvenience to them for at least a day or two. And so I just think a lot has been lost. A lot of it's about convenience. A lot about it is taking the time to remember. And our society doesn't do that.
At all.
Right. I mean, I don't feel like anymore that it's socially acceptable.
Yeah, you're supposed to laugh.
Grieve.
You're supposed to laugh.
Right.
It's supposed
Make it
to
a
be
party.
happy. It's supposed to be, but that's not really true.
We just had a funeral down south where somebody said, "I don't want her in here because she's going to cry."
Really?
Yes.
Right.
And we're like,
Well,
that's
grief is the price of love. So you
Right.
can't really, how do you not cry? How are you married to someone for 62 years or 70 years and not cry?
not cry.
So that movie, Steel Magnolias, where they say laughter through tears is my favorite emotion, I think you have to kind of run that whole gamut of there's so many emotions that go through it, and so many people trigger different emotions when you see them.
And so often now with the direct cremation or the cremations that we do, we're really just picking up the body. And then I tell Rebecca, there's nothing. And we give it back to them in a black box. Or your grandparents. I mean, gosh, you don't have the remembrance of their life, and you're not really thinking about.
And that's like we've all said. People are we're going to see issues down the road because people haven't had.
Well, you have issues too, like when someone doesn't know your loved one passed away, and then you're in the grocery store and they say,
Right.
"Oh, how's so-and-so,"
That's a good
or
point.
"How's so-and-so," and you think you didn't even know that he passed away or that he was
Right.
sick or that people don't get to say their last goodbyes. And some of the funeral homes that I work with, particularly with direct cremation or cremation, they say, cremation's not the final disposition. So that is not the last place, because we're finding that when my husband dies, it's going to be so important to me, and his ashes may be important to my kids, but those great-great-grandkids are going to think that's just weird. And we're finding ashes and containers in attics and Goodwill. We found one in Indianapolis at the side of a ditch that we got a call. So it just needs to have some fulfillment as far as where those final resting places.
And that goes back into a lot of people are taking that black box or taking the urn and bringing it to their house. And we'll find it later on where it's dad's in the closet. And then once mom passes away, the kids don't do anything with it. And so there's no final resting place. Or mom's walking around the house all the time and she walks by and sees dad there versus having a place like a cemetery or
that's there for years and years and years.
Right, that you can go out to and visit and remember them.
I agree.
Versus having that grief come up every time because he's in the closet.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think I'd want anybody in my closet.
So when do you think that it changed?
Oh, in the last,
20
20
years.
some
probably.
years, I would
Right.
agree.
Even the dress or the attire for funerals. Sometimes I come in and I'm like, holy.
Well, it goes back to attire for churches.
Attire for church.
When I used to go to
Yeah.
church,
True.
when we
Right.
grew up, we
dressed
went
up.
to your Sunday best, is what they call it. Sunday best is no longer even a term.
You
My
can
kids
wear
probably don't
shorts.
even know what
Yeah.
Sunday best is.
But even churches have made it convenient where you can watch it online.
Right.
And so when we were pre-planning the other day, and a lady said, I don't even know why I'm doing this because they're just going to FaceTime in. They're not even going to be present at my funeral. And I was like, I hadn't really thought about that, but I guess that it's just kind of the changing of the times. And we do a whole presentation on have a talk of a lifetime where put your technology down, put your
Right.
stuff down,
Right.
Take the time.
take the
Take
time
the
to look
time.
at each
Right.
other and have a conversation. Because we all know that Facebook can be photoshopped and is embellished, and
There's
so
two lives,
There's two
Facebook
lives
and
going
the real
on.
one.
Yeah. Oh, I know they're getting a divorce, but they're holding hands on Facebook. So it's
You know
just
when
not
the
real.
documents are out.
Right.
What's going on.
Exactly. Exactly. So the big thing we want to get today is to think about funerals, to think about going back to the olden way of cherishing your loved ones, remembering your loved ones, having a complete funeral service.
And we're not saying we're against cremation in
No.
any way, shape, or form. You can have a complete funeral service
Exactly.
in your kitchen with a chili cook-off. I mean, like it doesn't. It
Right.
can be. We had a family that went to their favorite lake and they had fried chicken and it was their grandpa and they had his ashes in that lake.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all about the remembrance of them and taking the time to remember.
Honor
And
Honor and remember, because a lot of
Pay
them will say,
tribute.
we're going to have a memorial later.
Well, and it goes
they
back
don't.
to, it really is, it's about the family too. That when you go and visit, it's about the family and helping them through it and giving them memories.
How many times do you pre-plan with somebody and they say, just throw me out back, or I don't care.
And you say to
and you
them,
stop and you go, wait a
"It's not
second,
about
it's
you."
not about you. We're not doing
Completely.
this for you. We're doing this for your family.
Right.
Right. Or I don't want to put the little ones through it, but so many times the little ones are the ones that get you through it.
Right.
Because they ask questions and they need to know
Right.
about death.
And it's good for them.
If you're old enough to love, you're old enough to grieve. So
Right.
Right. True. Say that again. If
if
you're old enough to love,
you're old enough to grieve. So
again, when you're planning your funeral, remember, it's not about you, it's about your loved ones. And we want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to grieve. Thank you for watching.